Public interest litigation. Public interest litigation. The concept of public interest litigation (PIL) originated and developed in the USA in 1960. In the USA, it was designed to provide the legal representation to previously unrepresented group and interests. It was undertaken in the recognition of the fact that the ordinary marketplace for legal services failed to provide such service to the significant segment of the population and to significant interest. Such group and interest include the poor, environmentalist, consumer, racial, and the ethnic minority and others. In India, the concept of PIL is closely related to the concept of the judicial activism. The emergence of PIL is mainly attributed to the judicial activism role of the Supreme Court. In other words, the PIL is an outcome of the judicial activism. In fact, the PIL is the most popular form of the manifestation of judicial activism. In India, the PIL was introduced in the early 1980s. Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer and Justice P.N. Bhagwati were the pioneers of the concept of PIL. The PIL, also known variously as social action legislation (SAL), social interest legislation (SIL), and class action legislation (CAL). Meaning of PIL. The introduction of the PIL in India was facilitated by the relaxation of the traditional rule of locus standi. According to the rule, only that person whose rights are infringed alone can move the court for the remedy, whereas the PIL is an exception of this traditional rule. Under the PIL, any public spirited citizen or the social organization can move the court for the enforcement of the right of any person or group of the person who because of their poverty and ignorance or the social or economically disadvantaged position are themselves unable to approach the court for the remedy. Thus, in a PIL, any member of the public having sufficient interest can approach the court for the enforcing the right of other persons and redressal of a common grievance. The Supreme Court has defined the PIL as a legal action initiated in a court of law for the enforcement of public interest or general interest in which the public or a class of the community have pecuniary interest or some interest by which their legal rights or liabilities are affected. The PIL is absolutely necessary for maintaining the rule of law, furthering the cause of justice, and accelerating the pace of realization of constitutional objective. In other words, the real purpose of the PIL are: first, vindication of the rule of law; second, facilitating effective access to justice to the society and the economically weaker section of the society; and third, meaningful relations of the fundamental rights. Balancing the scale of justice, finance, public interest law in America, a report by the Council for Public Interest Law, 1976, page number 6 to 7. Feature of PIL. The various features of the PIL are explained below. The first, the PIL is a strategic arm of a legal aid movement and is intended to bring justice within the reach of the poor masses whose constitute who constitute the law visibility area of humanity. Second, the PIL is a totally different kind of the legislation from the ordinary traditional legislation, which is essentially of a adversely character where there is a disputes between two litigating party, one making claim seeking relief against the other and that other opposing such claim or resisting such relief. Third, the PIL is brought before the court not for the purpose of enforcing the right of one individual against another as happen in the case of the ordinary legislation, but it is the intended to promote and vindicate public interest. Fourth, the PIL demand that the violation of the constitutional and legal right of the large number of the people who are poor, ignorant, or in a socially or economically disadvantaged position should not go unnoticed and unredressed. 5. The PIL is essentially a cooperative effort on the part of the petitioner, the state or the public authority, and the court to the secure observance of the constitutional and legal right, benefits, and privileges confer upon the vulnerable section of the community and to reach social justice to them. 6. In the PIL, legislation is undertaken for the purpose of redressing the public injury, enforcing public duty, protecting social collective diffused right and interest, or vindicating public interest. In the PIL, in the PIL, the role held by the court is more assertive than in traditional action. It is a creative rather than the passive, and it assumes a more positive attitude in determining acts. 8. Though in the PIL, court enjoy a degree of the flexibility unknown to the trial of the traditional private law legislation, whatever the procedure adopted by the court, it must be procedure known to judicial tenets and characteristics of the judicial proceeding. 9. In the PIL, unlike traditional dispute resolution mechanism, there is no determination of the adjudicating of individual right. Scope of PIL. In 1988, the Supreme Court formulated a set of guidelines to be followed for interning letter or petition received by it as a PIL. These guidelines were modified in 1993 and 2003. 88, 93, 2003. According to them, the letter or petition falling under the following category alone will ordinarily be entertained as PIL. First, bounded labor matter. Second, neglected children. Third, non-payment of minimum wage to worker or and exploitation of casual worker and complaint of violation of the labor law except in individual cases. Fourth, petition from jail complaining of the harassment for premature release and seeking release after having completed 14 years in jail, death in jail, transfer, release on personal bond, speedy trial as a fundamental right. 5. Petition against police for refusing to register a case, harassment by police, and death in police custody. 6. Petition against atrocity on women, in particular harassment of bride, burning, rape, murder, kidnapping, etc. 7. Petition complaining of harassment or torture of villagers by co-villagers or by police from person belonging to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe and economically backward classes. 8. Petition pertaining to environment pollution, disbursement of the ecological balance, drugs, food adulteration, maintenance of heritage and culture, antique, forest and wildlife, and other matter of the public importance. 9. Petition from right victims. 10. Family pension. The case falling under the following category will not be entertained as PIL. First, landlord-tenant matter. Second, service matter and those pertaining to the pension and the gratuity. Service matter and those pertaining to the pension and gratuity. Third, complaint against central, state, government, department and local body except those relating to item number 1 to 10 above. 10. 4. Admission to medical and other educational institution. 5. Petition for early hearing of case pending in High Court and the subordinate court. Principle of PIL. Principle of PIL. The Supreme Court evolved the following principle in regard to PIL. First, the court in exercise of the power under the Article 32 and the 226 of the Constitution can entertain a petition filed by any interested person in the welfare of the people who are in disadvantaged position and thus not in the position to knock the door of the court. The court is constitutionally bound to protect the fundamental right of such disadvantaged people and direct the state to fulfill its constitutional promises. Second, when the issue of the public importance, enforcement of the fundamental rights of larger number of the people vis-a-vis a constitutional duty and the function of the state are raised, the court treat a letter or a telegram as a PIL. In such cases, the court relax the procedural law and also the law relating to the pleading. Third, whenever injustice is meted out to a large number of the people, the court will not hesitate to step in to invoke Article 14 and 21 of the Constitution of India as well as the International Convention of the Human Rights, which provide for a reasonable and a fair trial. 4. The common rule of locus standi is relaxed so as to enable the court to look into the grievance complaint on the behalf of the poor, deprived, illiterate and the disabled who cannot vindicate the legal wrong or legal injury caused to them for the violation of any constitutional or legal right. 5. When the court is prima facie satisfied about the violation of any constitutional right of a group of people belonging to the disadvantaged category, it may not allow the state or the government from raising the question as to the maintainability of the petition. 6. Although procedural law apply on PIL case, the question as to whether the principle of res judicata or the principle analogous thereto would apply depend upon the nature of the petition and also fact and circumstances of the case. 7. The dispute between the two varying group purely in the realm of private law would not be allowed to be agitated as a PIL. 8. However, in a appropriate case, although the petitioner might have the move a court in his her private interest and for redressal of the personal grievance, the court in furtherance of the public interest may treat it necessary to inquiry into the state of affair of the subject of the legislation in the interest of justice. 9. The court in special situation may appoint commission or other body for the purpose of investigating into the allegation and finding out the facts. It may also direct management of a public institution taken over by such commission. Guruvayur Davaswan Managing Committee versus C.K. Rajan. The principle that when a matter has been finally adjudicated upon by a court of competent jurisdiction, it may not be reopened or challenged by the original party on their successor in interest. Its justification is need for finally in litigation. Oxford Dictionary by Law, 18th edition, 2015. 10. The court will not ordinarily transgress into a policy. It shall also take utmost care not to transgress its jurisdiction while purposing to protect the right of the people from being violated. 11. The court would ordinarily not step out of the known area of the judicial review. The High Court, although may pass an order for doing complete justice to the party, it does not have a power akin to Article 142 of the Constitution of India. 12. Ordinarily, the High Court should not entertain a writ petition by the way of PIL questioning constitutionality or validity of a statute or a statutory rule. Guidelines for admitting PIL. Guidelines for admitting PIL. The PIL has now come to occupy an importance field in the administration of law. It should not be allowed to become publicity interest litigation or the politics interest litigation or the private interest litigation or the pesa interest litigation or the middle class interest litigation. The Supreme Court in this context observe the PIL is not a pill or a panacea for all wrongs. It was essentially meant to protect the basic human right of the weak and the disadvantaged, and was a procedure which was innovated where a public spirited person file a petition in effect on behalf of such person who on account of poverty, helplessness or the economic or social disability could not approach to the court for relief. There have been in recent time increasingly instances of abuse of PIL. Therefore, there is a need to re-emphasize the parameters within which PIL can be resorted by a petitioner and the entertained by the court. Balco Employee versus Union versus Union of India, 2001. Therefore, the Supreme Court laid down the following guidelines for the checking the misuse of the PIL. State of Uttaranchal versus Balwant Singh Chopal, 2010. Balwant Singh Chopal. First, the court must encourage genuine and the bona fide PIL and effective discourage and curb the PIL file for the extraneous consideration. Second, instead of every individual judge devising her own procedure for dealing with the PIL, it would be appropriate for each high court to properly formulate rule for encouraging the genuine PIL filed and discouraging PIL file for with oblique motive. Third, the court should prima facie verify the credential of the petitioner before entertaining the PIL. 4. The court shall be prima facie satisfied regarding the correctness of the content of the petition before entertaining the PIL. 5. The court should be fully satisfied that the substantial public interest is involved before the entertaining the petition. 6. The court should ensure that the petition which involve larger public interest gravity, and urgency must be given priority over the other petition. 7. The court, before entertaining the PIL, must ensure that the PIL is aimed at redressal of genuine public harm and the public injury. The court should also ensure that there is no personal gain, private motive, or oblique motive behind the filing PIL. 8. The court should also ensure that the petition filed by the busybody for the extraneous or the ulterior motive must be discouraged by the imposing exemplary cost or adopting similar novel method to curb the frivolous petition and the petition filed by the extraneous consideration.